Hi, everyone. This is Huzaifa Ali again. And today my guest is Alex. Alex is the founder of Amz Analyzer. I'm sure the community of Amazon sellers, almost everyone knows about Amz's Analyzer tool, how it helps sellers to go through the price list very fast, and it helps the sellers, finding the profitable products from a lot of from maybe probably a large price list very quickly. So, Alex, welcome to Huzaifa's podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to speak to the Pakistani community. You guys have it's interesting. I've never seen such large Facebook groups before. I think you have like, what is it, 150,000 or some crazy number of. I mean, it's so interesting to see around the world the size of Amazon seller communities. And I think Pakistan has the largest communities that I've seen yet.
Yes, correct. Last year, in May 21, Amazon started accepting Pakistani sellers as well, because even the government of Pakistan is focusing very highly in this niche, specifically giving some tax relief to the e-commerce and other freelancing industries. They did a lot of work, especially the ministries in here, to make sure Amazon allows Pakistani sellers officially to sign up with the real documentation and everything. So it works now, and everyone is happy. People are able to sign up on Amazon, make money on it through different business models. So you and your software has been a great help, especially for the brand sellers, for Wholesale FBA, and I'm sure you also carry a large experience in selling on Amazon. So we'll discuss something about it. So let me know a little bit about your background, how you got started with this Amz Analyzer, and before that software and this company, what were your experience or business or something?
Sure. So my background experience has nothing to do with Amazon, has nothing to do with software. My experience is in real estate. So commercial real estate, office buildings. So I have a pretty interesting path of how I got here. I never intended to start a software company. What happened was I started selling on Amazon in around 2018. And, I did my research. I started with, like a lot of people did, with retail arbitrage. And it was just a fun thing to do on the weekends. I would go, scan a few products, sell them. And I was immediately addicted because it's just so much fun. Ultimately, again, like many sellers, I realized that, retail arbitrage is fun, but is not really scalable, right? You have to do a lot of driving, a lot of shopping. And then when you buy products, you're only buying a small amount of product. So the next natural evolution for me was, well, let's try wholesale. Mm-hmm. And wholesale was very interesting because it seemed to be much more scalable for me. And I was, doing this as a side business. I wasn't doing this as my primary business. So I needed something that wouldn't take so much time, so I could have my day job and kind of do something on the side. Wholesale allowed me to source products in bulk. I could purchase as much product as I wanted to. And as long as I kept sourcing, I was able to build my catalog, and I grew my business significantly. But as I was into wholesale, I found the experience to be pretty frustrating, because this is now 2019 or so, and I would get these massive lists from wholesale suppliers, and they would have sometimes 50,000, 100,000 products on them. Agreed. And I would have to figure out a way to get through it. At that time, there weren't really many options for bulk spreadsheet scanners. There's maybe like 2 or 3 other options on the marketplace.
Yes.
And I tried them, and they weren't good. Like they either had data issues where I couldn't really trust the data. They were really expensive, like
Yes.
highly overpriced, or there was just some other issue, wasn't reliable in some other way. I just couldn't get my hands around a reliable product to get through these lists. And with wholesale, you have to have a scanner. You can't do it manually,
Agree.
right? Because by the time you get through a list of 1,000 products, it takes you so long to do manually that those
True.
products you checked have already changed. The price has
True.
changed, things are evolving very quickly. So what I decided to do was go hire a developer, because I'm not a technical person myself, and develop for myself a tool that I could use for my own Amazon business. And I did that, and I was sort of cataloging my journey on a forum online. It was a forum for Amazon sellers. And when I finally developed my app for myself, there were a bunch of other sellers that followed me through the forum that requested access. They were having the same issue. So I, slapped the licensing module on my app, and it was very rudimentary back then. And I started, letting people sign up for service. It was a total afterthought. I never imagined that the software would be a business on its own. And became popular, and more people started using it. And what really set me off was sometime in late 2019, a big influencer that had a lot of Amazon sellers following them mentioned my app in a conference of some sort. This was a conference, what I was told had like 500 people in this conference, right? And so what he said on stage was, he said, this is my secret. This is the app that I use. All of you need to get your phones out if you don't have this app, and order this app. I didn't ask the guy to do this. I didn't even know he did this.
Awesome.
So what happened was, I woke up one morning, I was on vacation with my wife, and my phone, I would get a notification of new sales. And I had like 80 new emails. Like, I would never get emails on this account, and all these sales, one after the other. And my phone was just dinging, like as I was looking at it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. But it was, an influencer that had put me out there. And that really set the journey for me. It made me realize that, there is a business here. Other people have the same problem that I had. And that, really, I at that point decided to put resources into the application and really professionalize it and improve on it. And that's the journey really that I've been on since then.
Awesome. That's phenomenal. So, I mean, it's amazing, and it has happened with me as well, but I didn't just make it a business. Used back in late 2017, when I started selling on eBay, I had a lot of orders, and of course we were drop shipping on eBay at that time, and we had the same problem because we did not have there were order management systems for eBay, I think, but they were quite pricey. So I carry a background of a programmer myself. So what I thought, I just did a quick, without any interface, I just created a quick program on the browser that would fetch the orders from eBay and would allow me to enter the cost of goods sold for each order, like my cost. So it would immediately tell me how much did I make on that order, maybe like a $20 profit or $100 profit, it would just tell me right there. So that was quite energizing for me. I just kept working on that. I never sold it, though. I had a discussion with a few people and everyone asked for it, but I never gave them access to it. Because I thought it wasn't really that professionally built, and it would leak my data or something. So I was kind of scared. So I never shared it, but it was very helpful for me. So yeah, I completely understand where you come from. How
I completely relate to the thought of, like, this isn't very a professional app. Are people really going to buy this or pay for it? I had that struggle myself.
Yes.
But there's a powerful lesson there for anyone that's looking to start a business like that, and that is, people call this the MVP.
Yes.
A minimally viable product.
Correct.
And it's true. You have to start somewhere, and then you have to get it out there, get customer feedback, and then improve on it over time.
I believe you have a Windows program of this as well. So I don't think any other of your competitor is doing such, giving such a, I mean, I'm on my Mac. I would love to use the software on my Mac, but unfortunately I see only Windows version so far.
Yeah, so the reason we have a Windows version is I used Windows when I started. And remember, I originally created this for myself. And so we created a Windows version, and I realized over time that not everyone has Windows. And also there's lots of benefits to having a cloud hosted application, a SaaS application, because it allows you to use it from anywhere, from a browser to any operating system, including Windows and Mac OS can use it. So we ended up launching the web app a few years after the Windows app. And the web app is really supposed to be able to capture everyone and let everyone use the same app. So that's kind of how that evolved. So we still have the Windows app, and we let all of our web app customers use the Windows app for free if they want to. But the web app really does all of the same stuff that the Windows app does, and actually does a lot of extra things, and has a lot of extra benefits to it.
Yes. So do you upgrade that software, that Windows application from time to time? Does it evolve, or it's still the same version as you built it originally?
No, it's evolving all the time. We're adding new features, we're fixing bugs, we're doing that both on the Windows and the web app. We typically release updates every few months, but a lot of our improvements that we make on both apps actually come directly from customer feedback. So some of your students probably, and others, will let me know that, hey, I'd love to have this extra feature. And we listen to stuff like that, and we'll bake it in and release it every few months.
Some students told me they couldn't make the right decision on the calculations. I mean, they told me about every other scanner software, even Helium 10's profit calculator doesn't give you the exact or close to accurate numbers in terms of profit calculations. Why does it? I mean, I'm not programming these things anymore, and I'm just wondering why it is so difficult for us as a tech people to come up with the original or the accurate profit calculation, because even the other competitors of your industry, these scanners, they don't even have the near to accurate numbers in profit calculations.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one of the frustrations I had that caused me to create my own app is I would purchase this software and then it wouldn't be accurate. And now that I'm this far into the journey, I understand why those those softwares, and some that are out there right now are just not accurate. There's a lot of nuance to Amazon's catalog. There's also some limitations from their API.
Okay.
So if all you do is you launch an app and you just rely 100% on, the Amazon API, and you just throw it out there, you're going to have a lot of things that look like they're not right.
Agree.
So it actually took us years to evolve and fix and adjust for some of those things to be accurate. But our app should always match Amazon's FBA calculator. So if your students are familiar with it, you can Google Amazon FBA calculator. It's actually Amazon's own calculator.
Yes.
So that's what we compare to, because that's the source. So our data is the exact same data as what Amazon will provide to themselves. I actually have a funny story about that.
Sure.
Amazon. So we have contacts within Amazon. And one of the things that was shocking to me was that Amazon employees themselves are using our app when they're servicing their big clients. So they may have a big client, like big, like Xerox. Xerox may be a client, and Xerox will come to them and say, "Hey, we need you to process, this bulk list against your database." Their internal app for that is not accurate. Wow. So they are using my app for that instead, unofficially.
Oh, wow.
So that gives you a little insight into, like, even Amazon themselves really didn't get it right with their bulk scanning app that they developed internally for their employees to use. It takes a lot of work to get it right, and that's really our primary focus, is data accuracy.
Yes,
and one of the things that sets us apart.
Awesome. So yeah, I can agree to that, because we do receive some weird emails from Amazon. Seller performance sometimes seller verification, and these are the common stories from Amazon. So tell me something about how is your experience in selling on Amazon. Are you still selling yourself, or you are just selling the Amz Analyzer tool, or what is your current, how does your day go through,
Yeah, no, good question. So we had to make a decision in early 21 of what we're going to do with our Amazon business. And we decided to focus on the app. And that was really a decision, because there's only so many hours in the day, and I can't, you can't focus on everything. Right. So we sold from 2018 to 2021, and we're now fully focused on the app. But we had a good Amazon business. If I had more hours in the day, I would still be an Amazon seller, because I think it's a great business and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, we are focused on the app now. But we did years of wholesale. We had some private label products, and we sunset all that in 2021.
Wow. So tell me something about your wholesale business model. Like, how are the numbers? If you can share something like your sales, your profit margins, about your team who were working with you on that business model.
Sure. So at its peak, we were grossing, in the $1.4 million
month.
No, not monthly. We weren't that big. Now, remember, this is still a side business for me at that time. So for a side business, this was, pretty much as I could do without, making it my full-time job. But yeah, close to 1.5 million annual, and our profit margin on that was hovering around 30%, sometimes higher. And we had 4 private label products on top of that, and so that was probably driving 40% of our business. And yeah, I mean, the only problem with wholesale is you need to continuously source.
Right. Yes.
Right. You need to continuously scan and continuously source. And that's where I really found a challenge for myself personally, that because I wasn't focused on it full time, I wasn't able to grow beyond a plateau because I couldn't put more time into sourcing.
True, agree. That's great. So you said about this PL was included in this 1.4 million sales, right? So
Yes.
when you stopped working, did you actually sold those PL products? Like, I mean, like in a business, did somebody acquire you, or you just stopped it, winded up? What was that?
I winded it down.
Oh my gosh.
We had an opportunity to help a seller that had helped us quite, when you start an app, you rely on seller feedback.
Correct.
And so we had a few sellers that were really working very closely with us and were really instrumental in helping us get the app going. So I could have sold. I could have sold them, but we winded it down on our end, and we handed the products to the 3 sellers that were really helpful for us. So it was a way for us to say thank you.
Wow, what a nice gesture. I wish we had met that. Cool,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how was your experience with, how was the PL products were doing? How many products you had, and how was your experience about private label on Amazon? Was it easy? Was it difficult, or how? Tell me something about those.
It's interesting. The private label is totally different, in my opinion, than wholesale.
Yes.
It is, completely. It is completely transactional, and wholesale is more of a relationship game. So it was a very different approach. What I liked about private label was, if you make the right investment and the right decision, then your revenue stream is more stable. Yes. And so if you launch a good private label product, it could last you for years. Yes. And you don't really have the same type of competition as you do with wholesale. With wholesale, you don't have that kind of stability usually. And when you get a wholesale listing, it may be a good listing for a year, or it may be a good listing for a month. You just don't know, because at any point other sellers can jump on and change the economics of that listing. So with wholesale, it's a numbers game, and you have to continuously source and add products, because you're at the same time losing products here and there because the economics are changing. Yes. So it was, in my opinion, very different business models, but they work pretty well together. So as a portfolio, to have wholesale, which is kind of high churn, high source, relationship building. Yes. You've got that on one end, and then underpinning all that, having some consistent revenue from the private label side, I found to be a good business model for me. I also found them, my private label strategy was actually based on my experience in wholesale. Wow. And I haven't heard really anyone out there talking about this as an approach, but it worked well for me. And what I mean by that is, when I got wholesale accounts, I saw that really as a test drive. It was almost a free test drive of a product type. So I'll give you an example. One of my first really successful wholesale products was this kitchen appliance that you use to kind of curl cheese. It's called a giroli.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of one of these before, but they're really popular in certain parts of the world. And it did really well. I would have never thought about looking into this kind of product.
Mhm.
And then for various reasons, my wholesale supplier was no longer available to me. Like
Okay.
I lost the account. I don't even remember why. And I decided, look, there was a lot of demand there, and the product that these wholesalers are selling, I knew was inferior. Like, it didn't work really well. It was
Mhm.
built cheaply. So I used that as an opportunity to say, I already know there's demand there because I've sold a wholesale product in that category.
Yes.
So I went and I sourced a product and I improved on it based on my hands-on experience from
Mhm.
wholesale. So I made a better version and then launched that as a private label product. I didn't need any tools to do that
Wow.
except the tools that I used for my wholesale business. I didn't need Helium 10, Keepa. I didn't need, at that time I didn't have any of that.
You're right.
But I had hands-on experience. I knew 100% that the sales were there because I sold a similar
Mhm.
product. So it's just a way. Sometimes for me, private label was a derivative. It was resulted from experiences that I had in wholesale.
Yeah. Agree. Completely agree. So sometimes we make wrong decisions in such business strategies, and I believe that kills the purpose. Also puts us in the serious losses financially as well, especially when it comes to learning the business properly and having the hands-on experience or having the right mentorship. I believe uh, if people cannot do the hands-on experience by themselves, they must have at least a mentor or somebody who is helping them, in step by step. So at least they don't lose a lot of money during their test drives. So thank you, Alex. Tell me something, if you can share this information. How many, if I may ask, how many sellers are using Amz Analyzer right now? How it is helping them actually in building their wholesale businesses on Amazon?
Sure. So we've had not using exact numbers, but over 10,000 users of our app to date. And the
Wow.
users, they kind of come and go, right? So some of them are seasonal. They'll sign up for a few months, then they'll come back, 6 months later, and they use it intermittently like that. The, one thing that you may have noticed is our pricing has always been, at the lower end. We've always been the lowest priced scanner on the
Yes.
market. And that was strategic because, remember, one of the challenges and frustrations I had when I went to look for a scanner was that they were all super expensive.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to create something that was accessible and available to anyone. When you're a new business starting, expenses, are a challenge. And I wanted to be accessible for new businesses
Mhm.
starting out. So the what we can provide, I guess, is what the answer to your question is. What I look to provide is a solution to the problem that I had when I was starting
Yes.
out, is an accurate, efficient app that's built by an Amazon seller that understands what Amazon sellers want and need, that is
Mhm.
priced at a price point that a new Amazon seller can afford.
Agree.
And that's what we, I believe, provide to the community.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I can totally agree to that in terms of the pricing. So is there anything that you might want to tell the audience about I'm sure this podcast is going to be listened by many active Amazon sellers, or the ones who are entering into Amazon business space. Do you want to tell them how to get started? I mean, I have a lot of questions for you because you have been a seller yourself, but just to trying to keep it simple. Any specific strategy or something that you think new sellers usually make mistakes while using your software? And if you want to tell them, hey, when you are new, start this way, use the software this way, maybe something that you want to share to help the new sellers.
Sure. Well, I'll include one business strategy, and then I'll include one software strategy. How about that? So one business strategy where I see a lot of new sellers making mistakes is, when you're getting into wholesale, if you're doing stuff like purchasing, lists, or purchasing access to wholesale suppliers that everyone on the internet has access to,
Yes.
it's not going to work. That's not how a wholesale model works. So in wholesale, I found that the harder you had to look to find a supplier, the more durable and consistent the profits were from that supplier. Excuse me. So if you're seeing a supplier that's, on Facebook and advertising their services to every Amazon seller, or if they're part of a paid list that you purchased for a wholesale directory, just think like every other seller in the world has access to that same wholesale supplier. They're just going to jump on that listing and beat the price down. And I see a lot of new sellers making mistakes like that, and they'll lose money because, the listing gets crushed.
True.
So the best profits are the hardest to find. And so I look for those hard places instead of the easy places. That's where I found success.
Sure.
On the app, one of the huge differentiating features that we have is how customizable our grids are. And what I mean by that is you can actually set all of your preferences, including your filter criteria, and you can save those as custom grid views. And that is a super powerful feature, because when you think about it, when you're analyzing a list, like let's say you pull down a list in Excel, you're usually filtering the list in Excel using the same criteria or similar criteria each time. Right. It's like, I want profit above X dollars. I want, sales rank below X sales rank, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you're repeating all of those same filters and formatting for every single list, which is highly inefficient. Yes. So what the app allows you to do, and this is my one advice for sellers using my app, is you could create a custom grid view that incorporates all of those filters. So then all you have to do is go in with one click and apply all of those filters to a list and immediately see the results.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
It's a massive efficiency advantage in being able to look at a list in different ways with different filters, organize your data exactly how you want it, and then apply those things to any list with one click. Awesome. And that's one feature that, if you haven't used on our app, I highly advise that you give it a shot, because it will accelerate your efficiency dramatically.
Sure, of course. We do make a lot of videos on these tools, including yours, and excuse me. And Amz Analyzer is one of the top recommended tools I have. I mean, I do like it. I was, to be honest, I was fond of the Windows application, but I just couldn't use it because of my system being Mac. But anyways, this is amazing. So just quick one question: have you the experience you got with Amazon Wholesale FBA? Were you working directly with the brands, or you were working with the distributors and wholesale suppliers?
Yeah, so both is the answer. You prefer to work with brands when you can. So to get to the brand is the goal, but sometimes, as you probably have experienced, it may not be possible. And you have to work with distributors, and distributors also are interesting because they carry a lot of brands. So you can get a wide variety of products. But yeah, when you can, try to get to the brand to get the best pricing.
Yes, of course, of course. Okay, perfect. So Alex, I believe you have a discount coupon for our users or sellers and members, students. So do you want to tell them so how they can use it? How do they sign up using the existing affiliate link we have, or how does it work?
Sure. So Ali has convinced me to provide to exclusive to this group a 20% off monthly recurring discount, which means that if you use this discount code, you will get 20% off on every single month, not just the first month, but every month of your service. And the code is ESP20. And if you click on Ali's affiliate link, that makes sure that Ali also gets compensated, and that way it supports Ali's operation. So I highly encourage you to use his link and use ESP20 as a discount code.
Wow, that's so nice of you, Alex. I really appreciate that. And just to let everyone know, we had a different coupon previously from Alex, like it was 50% for the first month off. But because I requested Alex to have something that is on and on recurring, so Alex was so nice and he accepted the request and given us this ESP20 that is 20% off, and you guys can sign up using the link. I will provide it to you. So Alex, thank you so much. I'm done with my questions. If you want to know something about us or anything specifically you are wondering about, I'm sure you already have a lot of users on your software from Pakistan who are actively selling on Amazon. Not me only, there are other communities also working in Pakistan who are helping people to build businesses on Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and other online ventures. If there is anything I can assist you or help you with or answer your questions, I'll be happy to do that.
Well, thank you, Ali. I would love to get feedback from your users, from your group, about things that their experience with the app, and things that they would like to see added to the app, and questions that they have about the results from Amazon. They can reach me directly, and I will personally answer their questions. And they could reach me at alexk, ALEXK, at analyzer.tools. And one of the things that I'm happy to do, and especially for new sellers, this is helpful, is if you see a number that doesn't make sense, let me know about it, because oftentimes Amazon is a messy place, and I could usually create a video for you and explain exactly why the numbers are what they are. So that's a service I'm happy to provide to your users.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate that. I'm sure the audience who are listening, who are going to listen to it, will definitely appreciate that as well. And I'll provide your link in in the description or the titles here, and also we will give them the coupon you have offered us. Well, Alex, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate that, and I hope to keep in touch with you, and we will continue to create new ventures, hopefully soon in the future. Thanks a lot.
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Alex. Have a great day ahead. Bye.
You as well.